Okay, so for this video, we're going to divide a polynomial by a monomial. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to think of that division kind of like as a distributing thing. So I could have written it with the divided by sign at the end, put the top in parentheses. But what we're going to do is divide that bottom, that denominator is going to go to each one of the numerator parts because there's only one thing in the denominator. So we can do this, rewrite it as 27z to the 7th over 3z to the 3rd minus 9z to the 3rd over 3z to the 3rd. And then we're just going to simplify each one of those fractions. That's a terrible 3, but there we go. So we're going to simplify the numerators and then simplify the coefficients and then simplify the exponents if they have the same base, which they do. So 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 27 9 times. So you're going to have a 9. Z to the 7th over z to the 3rd, there are more on top. So I'm going to subtract the 3 and keep it on top. So this is going to be z to the 4th. And then a negative, so everything's positive here, so it's just going to stay a minus. 3 goes into 3 once, goes into 9 3 times. The z's, there's the same number of them top and bottom. They're both a z to the 3rd, so they just get a cross out. So I'm just going to have a 3 standing out with there. We're going to type our answer in, and then we will move on to the next problem. 4th minus 3. Check my answer, and we get the next problem. All right, so this time they did write it down as a distributing with kind of like we do with a number in front. We could distribute with multiplication if there's no symbol. This we're dividing, and we're going to divide to every single term that we have. So we are going to write 32, if I have my pen working. So 32 u to the 3rd, and it's going to get a divided by negative 4u. And then our next term is a plus 8u squared. And that's also going to get divided by a negative 4u. And then we have a plus 20u. And that also gets divided by a negative 4u. And then, like I said before, we're going to just simplify each one of those fractions. And by doing that, we do the coefficients by the coefficients. And then the variables or the bases with the exponents, we get to subtract exponents if there's more on top or bottom. All right, so for the first part, we have a negative divided by a positive divided by a negative is negative. So that deals with that. And 4 goes into negative 4 1 time and 32 8 times. So this is just going to become an 8. There are more u's on top because there are 3. There is 1 down here. So I'm going to subtract the 1 on top. So this will be a u squared. A positive divided by a negative is negative, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. Crosses out. Looking at my u's, I have more on top than bottom, and u to the 2nd minus u to the 1st. That would be just a plain old 2 minus 1. So I'm going to have 2u, and I could put the exponent of 1, but Alex tends to not like that. It'll accept it, but it does say that it's not the most simplified answer. All right, so positive 20 divided by a negative, positive divided by negative is negative. 20 divided by 4 is 5, and these u's cancel out. So I'm left with just 5. So type my answer in. We have negative 8u to the 2nd minus 2u minus 5. Okay. All right, and then we will get our next problem. Delete our drawings. Now this one's written as in the fraction form again. Yet again, we are going to put that fraction, make each one of the numerator terms into a fraction over that single denominator. So you have 25 z to the 3rd. I really don't like z's over 4z And then the next term I have is a plus 12z squared, and that is also going to be over that 4z. And then a plus 32z over 4z. Now, reducing each one of these fractions. 4 does not go into 25, so I'm stuck with a 25 divided by 4. I have 3 z's on top, z to the third on top, z to the first on bottom. There are more on top, so 3 minus 1. I'm going to have z squared on top. All right, 4 goes into 12 3 times. I have z squared on top, z on bottom, so that is going to be more on top. So I have plus 3z, and then 4 goes into 32 8 times, and then my z's will cancel out, so I have plus 8. All right, so we can, when we put in that fraction, that first one, the 25z squared over 4, there's a couple different ways I can write it. I can go 25 over 4 first. Divided by 4, and well, if I type it, all right, so 25 divided by 4. I can make the fraction of the coefficients first, and then push that z squared off to that off to the side, so that I'm thinking my coefficient is that 25 over 4, or I can have that, like I wrote in the work, 25z squared and all of it divided by 4. It's the same thing. It's just two different ways of writing the exact same thing. So I kind of like to keep it as a coefficient, so I'm going to put it like that. And then I have 3z plus 8. And check, and then we should be on our way for our next topic.